Last summer, my best friend Jenna and I decided to escape the city's relentless pace and retreat into the quiet of the woods. We rented a quaint cabin nestled at the edge of a dense forest. It promised tranquility and a break from our hectic lives. Little did we know, our dream getaway would quickly turn into a waking nightmare. The cabin was more beautiful than the pictures had suggested. Surrounded by towering pines and the gentle murmur of a nearby stream, it felt like stepping into another world. Jenna, always the more adventurous of us, was thrilled. "This is perfect, Emily," she exclaimed as we unpacked our things. The first few days were heavenly. We hiked, read by the fire, and cooked elaborate meals. But by the third night, things began to feel off. I noticed small things at first. Items not where we'd left them, doors slightly ajar. I mentioned it to Jenna, who laughed it off. "You're just not used to the woods," she joked. But the feeling of being watched grew stronger. One evening, as we sat by the fire, I saw a shadow flit past the window. I froze, my heart pounding in my chest. "Did you see that?" I whispered to Jenna. She turned to look, her expression skeptical. "See what?" "Emily, it's probably just an animal." I tried to convince myself she was right, but sleep was elusive that night. Every creak and crack of the old cabin made my skin crawl. The next day, while Jenna was out gathering firewood, I decided to investigate around the cabin. My hands trembled slightly as I approached the spot where I'd seen the shadow. There, in the soft earth beneath the window, were footprints, human footprints. Chilled, I took pictures with my phone before rushing back inside to lock the doors. When Jenna returned, I showed her the photos. This time, her laughter died in her throat. "Okay, that's weird," she admitted. We decided to set up our phones to record overnight, hoping to catch a glimpse of whatever, or whoever, was lurking around the cabin. That night, the air felt charged, heavy with anticipation. We barely slept, jumping at every sound. In the morning, we reviewed the footage. Most of it showed nothing, but one clip made our blood run cold. For a few seconds, a figure appeared at the window, peering in. It was too dark to make out a face, but the intent was unmistakable. Someone had been watching us. Terrified, we debated leaving, but it was late, and the nearest town was hours away. "Let's stay one more night," Jenna suggested reluctantly. "We'll keep everything locked and leave first thing in the morning." As darkness enveloped the cabin, our fear escalated. Every shadow seemed to move, every wind-whipped branch a potential threat. Hours ticked by in tense silence. Suddenly, a loud thump against the door jolted us upright. Frozen in fear, we stared as the doorknob rattled violently. "Go away!" Jenna screamed, her voice breaking the paralysis that held me. I grabbed my phone to dial for help, but there was no service, the signal mysteriously gone. The rattling ceased abruptly, replaced by a scraping sound on the side of the cabin. We clung to each other, whispering frantic prayers as the noise circled around us. Then, just as suddenly, it stopped. Dawn broke with no further incidents. We packed our things, the relief of daylight bolstering our courage. As we hurried to the car, I glanced back at the cabin. A shiver coursed through me. It felt like the woods were holding their breath, watching us leave. We reported the incident to the police, but without clear footage or any other evidence, there was little they could do. "Probably just some local kids trying to scare you," the officer suggested. But Jenna and I knew it was more than that. Since then, we've tried to put that night behind us, but the fear lingers. Sometimes, in the quiet moments, I find myself wondering about the cabin, about what watches from the shadows of those woods. And I know, deep down, that some mysteries are better left unsolved.